This is our first Nintendo game since Burnout 2 Point of Impact back on GameCube. So as we finished Most Wanted last year, we then have the opportunity to bring the game to Wii U, and we're excited to come and show you today because we've made a few changes to the game that was released. And I think most people are expecting just a vanilla version of the game, and that's certainly present. But also we sat down at the end of the year, once we've taken a break, and that's a great opportunity for the team, the Wii U team, to sit back, take a look at the work that's been done, and really push ourselves to think, how can we make this game new and improved, and also unique to Wii U? And at Criterion, Wii U has given us some challenges, and it's also enabled us to solve some of the problems that we've been wanting to solve for a long time. And the first one there is that, to us at Criterion, Wii U is a shared experience. Those of us having a console at home, playing with our wives, our families, sons and daughters, it's about coming together around the TV. Obviously, you can use the full gamepad to play the game, and obviously you can play the game on the gamepad if somebody else is using the display. But also what we wanted to do is create a unique mode that used the gamepad. And the unique problem this allows us to solve is we've thought for many years now, how can we include the second player in our games? Whether that's Burnout or Need for Speed, what can the second player in the room be doing? Because Burnout's Need for Speed have always been, our versions, very fast. So on the gamepad, we created something what we call co-driver mode, which, excuse me, is the natural, thing to do. The best ideas are obviously sometimes the simplest ones. And we know from, as we've shown the game around the world, is we're very familiar. Fans of our games will be very familiar with what to do. It's a very fast-paced 3D driving game. Driving in and out of traffic, drifting, boosting, finding collectibles, unlocking cars. Skilled players know exactly what to do. But on Wii U, this may be the first fast 3D driving game you've played. So for the co-driver mode, internally we kind of called it father and son mode. Because many of our guys on the team are older, they have children, and we're able to test this concept out with friends and family. When you're watching some people playing, they might not know what to do. And Wii U enables what we call the father player to be using the gamepad to be creating a tailored and bespoke experience for the player he's playing with. For example, to be skilled at the game, obviously driving along, not wrecking, not crashing all the time. And as much as we spend time trying to design around that issue at Criterion, making sure that the handling and the world kind of match together, as we go around the world, we often see some people who can make our game look completely terrible, and they can completely struggle with the game. So again, the father player here, if he's watching, he has dual controls. So he can secretly help the other player who's playing. They might be playing on the Wiimote. Obviously Jamie's here playing with the Wiimote and Nunchuck. We also support motion control, both on the gamepad. We support the Pro Controller, and also the Mario Kart steering wheel. But again, I might just want to get used to the cars. I might just want to drive around the city. If I'm crashing all the time, we can dial traffic down, or we can turn traffic off. If we turn to night time, and this is a new and improved night, something that's improved from our first release of the game. But again, if your TV's not calibrated particularly well, or you're driving at speed, driving at night makes a driving game harder for a lot of players. So again, Jim here with a touch of the button can turn day to night. So we can tailor the experience. We can turn traffic off, turn day to night, and also he's in control. This is the single player game that Jamie's playing. And again, he could use the gamepad at any time if he wanted to. Jim can queue up all the events from the gamepad, and he can also change car. So he's able to tailor the game experience. So we think it's a unique piece of hardware to do that. In the main game, of course, you'd have to drive around and find all the cars, but maybe you're time restricted in your time to play. So again, Jim has control. If we don't want the Aston Martin, let's say, can I have a Ford, please? He's in control, right? So we're able to, the father player is able to play with the son and help him get through the game and experience the game. Because again, for some people, this might be their first game.
So you mentioned that there are dual controls. Does that mean that both people can kind of steer the car? So what happens if somebody wants to go right and somebody else wants to go left? Do you go straight on, or?
Well, the bias is slightly on the gamepad controller, but it's not something you'll use all the time. One of the most common problems you have when you see people playing a 3D driving game is that they hit the wall. To us, as experienced players, we know that the left trigger is reversed. Some players don't know that. So you're able to use the gamepad to have that control. It's not designed for two people to be, it's not a cooperative driving experience, although it can be done in that regard in the sense that the cars in co-driver mode have a reinforced chassis, so you can't be taken down as easily, and we have what we call Boost U. So the player has a slight version of boost that he can add to the other player all the time. So co-driver just enables you, if you ever watch siblings play the game, if one person's not doing very well, it's very hard. They don't like it when you take the controller from their hand.
Right.
It's like, oh, you suck, but give it to me and I'll show you. People kind of don't like that. So Enable, we're able to solve that problem again with gamepad. If I'm watching you play and I'm watching you struggle, I'm able to tune that experience. If you get stuck on the geometry, I can reverse. If you're cornering as wild and you haven't braked, as well as you should do to be drifting, I can help you drift. And that player doesn't know. He's not seeing the inputs all the time.
Yeah.
You can take over full control, like two pilots flying an airplane, but again, you can subtly have that effect. And it's a great way to play with new or more casual players to what is a very, we're very used to this at Criterion. We've been making these games a long time. We're used to driving the fastest car in the game, looking at this narrow letterbox area of the screen, boosting around the world, we know what to do. But Wii U gives us this opportunity to just tailor that experience and help. We obviously like to play these games. More people can get to enjoy them at a pace that's right for them. We think that's really fun.
So it's just that gentle helping hand helping you along. Now,
Yeah.
if there's one thing in Need for Speed Most Wanted that I feel like I always wanted, if somebody else was going to be along there helping me out, it's that, sometimes I might be new to a race, I'm not totally familiar with the course, and the racing line will take a hard right turn, and I go straight on. Is there anything that helper player can do to indicate, hey, you've got a right turn coming up, or anything like that?
We did think of that. We were thinking initially, one of our original ideas was if I could be drawing on the pad to help me find the way, but navigation is hard in the 3D driving game. Again, I'll be able to drive with you, but we're not doing anything to aid navigation as that much.
Yeah.
What you can do is that I'm seeing the map. For example, you can trigger, less skilled players can be triggering police chases all the time, probably a lot more than wanted to. When I'm looking at the map, I can tap on the screen to slow the cops down, to disengage them, or if I wanted to, I could switch them off entirely. So again, I'm using the map screen, it's filtered there, I'm able to see where all the collectibles are in the world, and I'm able to see where the player has or hasn't found them. So again, if they're driving around, they're getting maybe frustrated, they want a different car, I can tee it up, but we can also have this shared experience of, there's a billboard around the corner, right? Okay, where are you going to go? And we're able to work together rather than forcing and following lines on the screen. I find it's very complicated. We're able to say there's a billboard around the corner, okay, next right. And two players can then work together to achieve that objective in the game.
Yeah.
And we think that's very powerful and quite a magical experience, particularly if you're playing with your children, that you're able to help them find something together in the game. And that's something else that only the gamepad can achieve.
Okay, so it's the tools like that are much more of a, the communication is on you, but you still have all the tools to help each other out.
It's about two people playing together in the room, and they'll be talking. Can you help me boost? Can you help me drift? And again, we're changing, we're improving the map. We're just trying to improve the readability and visibility of the game because we acknowledge that there's no perfect piece of software. It's impossible to design a game that's going to cater for everybody, and we normally cater towards the more hardcore end of the scale, making games that you can play for. Say Burnout Paradise, some people played it for 1,000 hours, completing all the challenges. And again, whereas we're coming to Wii U, there's some great games coming out on that system. It's like trying to provide a refreshing alternative to some of the games you already have. But again, if you're looking at the screen, Tyler, you can see that there's a marked visual improvement, not just in our nighttime here where the ratio is much more balanced, it's a much more cooler looking night, and it's also easy to drive around, but also we're using all of the textures from the high-end PC version of the game we did. So it's by far the best looking console version of the game. It's sharper, textures are better, you get the draw distance is tweaked, you can see the road looks fantastic, the cars look better than ever. So we've just worked hard to create a more handcrafted, bespoke version of the game, and that's because we finished the game that we made, and now we're able to go forward and improve it, and we're able to do that work after the game is complete. It's very hard to make these kind of changes when you're still in main development and you haven't you got to everything that you wanted to finish in the development. Our games come together always in the last 3 months.
Yeah.
So we often the predictions and the feeling for how we think the game is going to be is always very different by the time we get to the end.
Yeah.
Certainly 2 years ago when we started development in the game, didn't occur to us we're going to put all the cars in the world.
Yeah. Now you've got all this great suite of helpful tools for the co-driver to help the primary player. Can these tools also be turned around? Because I mean, around the office, you give us the gamepad and like the Super Mario Brothers game. Sure, we could draw out the blocks to help each other out, but a lot of times we spend time drawing out the blocks to block each other and grief each other.
Griefing. I'm personally quite partial to a bit of griefing, but that's not something we've included here because our philosophy there on Wii U is people coming together and having a sweet time rather than being a bit dastardly.
Yeah.
I suppose you could be a bit cruel and boost when they don't really want you to boost, or switch the car out when they're facing a wall or something. I bet you could. If that's how you want to play, that's how you want to play. But for us, our philosophy is like Wii U is more of like a more positive vibe.
Okay. So you can't just ramp up the amount of traffic on the player.
No, you can't make it. I kind of believe the game was hard enough when we finished it last year. We certainly haven't got on Wii U. Okay, let's make it really, really hard now. We're gonna, really gonna make you struggle. So we're not gonna make the game harder to play than it already is.
Yeah.
Because again, not everyone, just like the NCL team, not everyone can complete New Super Mario Brothers U. So that's why they included that feature on gamepad.
Right.
Not everybody is going to complete this software and take it all the way through to the end, or necessarily play online and complete all the challenges and find all the collectibles. So as developers, whatever we can do to help people have more of that positive experience, that can only be a good thing in my book.
Yeah. Have there been any changes to the online experience for the Wii U?
There's some new speed lists that have been added, but no, other than that, the multiplayer is pretty much as it was as we shipped.
Alrighty, well this...
And that's for 6 players, not 8 on Wii U. There's 2 less players there.
Okay, so this game's looking really good on the Wii U. When can players look forward to getting their hands on it?
This game's coming out on Wii U on March 19th this year.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thanks.